Hey guys, Brownells here, and today I'm going to be talking about 9 fun and creative weapons, gadgets, trinkets, and items that have weird abilities or on-use effects that could be useful in classic WoW. I'm sure you guys are as curious as I am to see all the old items reintroduced into the game, all of the ones we forgot about over the years that got taken out with each expansion. So I selected 9 items to talk about today, and I'm not going to waste any more time, so let's get this started. To see a specific item, you can find the timestamps for each one in the comment section below. To only see the item and what it does, I also timestamped that part of the video in the comment section below as well. The first item I'd like to talk about is Book of the Dead, which is a held and offhand item that drops off of Grand Crusader Doth Rohan, who transforms into Balnazar halfway into the fight. This book has about a 4% chance of dropping according to Wowhead, so expect to be farming for a little while for this to drop. Book of the Dead has an on-use effect that allows you to summon a skeleton that'll help you in combat for 1 minute. This item is on a 15-minute cooldown, and is best equipped on mages since mages have good options for one-handers such as Elemental Attuned Blade and Sorcerous Dagger, where a priest would soon replace it with Benedicition, which is a reward from the Priest Epic questline. For any priest mains out there, I highly suggest looking up this staff. The next item I'd like to talk about is Hook of the Master Angler, which comes from the Stranglethorn Vale fishing tournament, which happens every Sunday. To get started, all you need is a fishing pole and a base fishing level of at least 200 to eliminate messages like your fish got away. Horde characters can pick up Nat Pagles Extreme Angler FC-5000 from the quest Snapjaws Mon in the Hinterlands, which gives plus 25 to fishing skill, which is the best fishing pole in the game other than the one that you can win from the fishing tournament. The best Alliance fishing pole to my knowledge is a strong fishing pole. If there's another one out there that I don't know about, please post it in the comment section below. You probably want to be at least level 40 when you attempt this tournament, because you'll want to run to the fishing pools as quick as you can, and be able to kill the monsters that are in the area if you get attacked. Any time spent fighting is time spent not fishing, so try and avoid combat if you can. It is recommended that you temporarily change your Hearthstone to Booty Bay, so that when you've collected all the fish, you can just hearth back to Booty Bay and turn them in. You want to have at least 8 bag slots open for your fish that you're about to catch, so make sure your bags aren't full going into this. The main goal of this tournament is to be able to catch 40 tasty fish, and return them to the Goblin Contest Master Wriggle Bassbait in Booty Bay. Wriggle stands on the dock just outside of the inn. Along with the man in charge of the contest, there is Fishbot 5000, and another goblin who gives out consolation prizes. You can win this tournament multiple times, but there's only one winner per server per week. The consolation prize is every 5 tasty fish you turn into the female goblin next to Wriggle Bassbait, you will be given 23 silver, which is a decent amount in classic WoW, and is also repeatable on the days of the tournament. The consolation prize for catching a rare fish, which according to Wowhead is pretty rare, is given after you catch a rare fish and turn it into Fishbot 5000. Who gives you one of 3 prizes depending on the type of fish that you caught. If you catch a Desian Queenfish, then you get High Test Eternium Fishing Line, which adds 5 fishing skill to your current fishing pole, and requires level 45 to loot. If you catch a Keefers Angelfish, then you will get a Lucky Fishing Hat, which adds plus 5 to your fishing skill when equipped. The last rare fish is Brownells Blue Striped Racer, which gives you Nat Pagles Extreme Anglin Boots, which gives a plus 5 to your fishing skill as well. The prize for actually winning the tournament is either an Arcanite fishing pole, which is a pole used by Nat Pagle himself that gives plus 35 to your fishing skill, or a Hook of the Master Angler, which is a trinket that increases your swim speed by 25% and gives unlimited water breathing, and most importantly, turns you into a cute little frenzy fish. The cooldown on the trinket is 5 seconds and can be used in combat, so keep that in mind if you ever need a fancy escape. I will be talking about the fishing tournament a little more in a different video, and how to have your best chance at winning, but for now, that is how you obtain Hook of the Master Angler. The next item I'd like to talk about is Linken's Boomerang, which comes from the quest It's Dangerous to Go Alone in Ungoro Crater. Linken's Boomerang is an homage to Link from The Legend of Zelda, who uses a boomerang as a weapon in many of the Zelda games. This trinket is on a 3-minute cooldown, and is a pretty useful trinket, and only requires you to be level 47. The trinket has a chance to stun, which is a reference to the fact that the boomerang from the Legend of Zelda series was almost always used to stun enemies. The trinket is also capable of disarming the enemy, but according to Wowhead, you'll find that the stun proc has a higher chance than the disarm. Classes of all kinds can use this item to pull enemies without using resources like mana or ammo, which can be useful in the dungeons that you run before you go ahead and replace it. The next item I'd like to talk about is Cannonball Runner, which is a fun trinket that comes from Cannon Master Willie from Stratholme. The trinket summons a cannon that will fire at your enemies that you're in combat with, and is capable of AoE damage. It lasts a little over 10 seconds, and fires 8 cannons in that duration. Each shot does about 50 points of damage, but hits all enemies in front of the cannon that are in range. The drop rate is about 13% according to Wowhead, which isn't too bad, and you should be able to pick one up in less than 10 runs provided that you win the roll. There isn't much more to this item, but who doesn't want the ability to summon a cannon? The next item I'd like to talk about is called Nifty Stopwatch, which is a trinket that you get from a quest in Badlands called This Is Going to Be Hard, which requires you to complete a very short 3-part quest chain that will end in you killing a Famrator Guardian and bringing Lowtils Shackles of Elemental Binding back to the quest giver. This trinket gives you a 40% run speed boost for 10 seconds on a 30-minute cooldown, and can be extremely useful in many scenarios. For example, mages that like to AoE farm dungeons by casting Blizzard and running away can use this whenever they get too close to a mob, and it's also good for when you hit level 60 as a mage. With the proper use of Invisibility Potions and this trinket, you can easily get to and solo the mobs in Lower Blackrock Spire that drop the Robe of the Archmage pattern, which will earn you some good gold, or if you take tailoring as a mage, they are the best robes that you can wear for quite some time, and you will find yourself using them in Molten Core and Blackwing Lair, as the stats on the robes are extremely good. But back to Nifty Stopwatch. This item can be useful for farming, world PvP, or even help you win in the Stranglethorn Vale fishing tournament that I mentioned earlier, so make sure you don't vendor or disenchant this item if you get it. The next item I'd like to talk about is an item that you absolutely have to save if you're going to world PvP, as it provides so much utility that could allow for further chain CC leading to the enemy's death. The item is a trinket called Tidal Charm, and it stuns your target for 3 seconds on a 15-minute cooldown, which is really good. This is the best trinket that you can get for PvP if you decide to make a level 39 to 49 twink for PvP. You can get the trinket by killing Prince Nazjac, who is a level 41 rare mob Naga found roaming the Drowned Reef in the Arathi Highlands. He is on a 12 to 48 hour respawn timer according to Wowhead, and has 4 spawn locations. Here is the map of his locations, which you can see at the bottom left. This trinket has a 42 to 47% drop chance, so even if you happen to find Prince Nazjac, it's possible you may not get the trinket on the first kill, although it does have a very good drop chance, so you just gotta hope that RNG is in your favor that day. The next item I'd like to talk about is an item that you'll 100% want to keep, especially if you're into PvP or playing on a PvP server. This item is a held in offhand called Skull of Impending Doom, and comes from a quest chain called Forbidden Knowledge, which you can do if you're Horde or Alliance. All it requires you to do is to be level 30, and go to Gerrig Bonegrip in Ironforge, or Keeper Bel'dugur in Undercity, and bring Yagan's Digest to Theldurin the Lost in Badlands. And don't worry, Yagan's Digest is provided, so you don't have to kill anyone or climb any mountains to obtain it. Once you give Yagan's Digest to Theldurin the Lost, you're done, and you now have your Skull of Impending Doom. But what makes this item so good? There are not many items that do periodic damage to the user, but items like this can be extremely useful. Skull of Impending Doom can be used to break Polymorph, Freezing Trap, Seduce, Gouge, Sap, and etc., but cannot be used while affected by these already, so you need to activate it before getting sheeped or trapped. It also gives you a 60% run speed boost for 10 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown, which is extremely useful, and also makes you cluck like a chicken during its duration, so that's definitely a good reason to use it. If you plan on doing PvP, this is a 100% must-have for duels, world PvP, and even battlegrounds. You're also able to carry flags in battlegrounds and use this item, so if you're looking for a speedy flag cap, save this item and items like it, so you can be the hero that your team needs. The next item I'd like to talk about is Barov Peasant Collar, which comes from a 2-parter quest which starts in Tirisfal Glades, and will have you travel to Skolamance and complete a quest called Barov Family Fortune, which is just collecting 4 deeds. Here is the location of all 4 deeds in Skolamance. After collecting the deeds and handing the quest in, if you're Horde, you'll have to travel to Chillwind Camp, which is Alliance territory, and assassinate Weldon Barov, take his head, and return to Alex Barov. If you're Alliance, then you'll have to do the opposite. Travel to Bulwark, which is Horde territory, and get the head of Alex Barov. The recommended people for this quest is a party of 3, since you'll be going into enemy faction's territory. These NPCs have been known to have a long spawn timer, so if the enemy faction kills your quest giver, then you'll have to wait for him to respawn. Once you get the head of your enemy, turn in your quest and you'll be rewarded with Barov Peasant Collar, which calls forth 3 servants that will help you fight in combat for about 10 seconds. This item is on a 10-minute cooldown and has okay damage. I read that rogues can find this useful in battlegrounds that require you to try and capture a post such as Alterac Valley. Apparently you can run up to a post in Alterac Valley, stealth in, find a safe spot and unstealth, wait for stealth to recharge, summon Barovs, stealth up to the post, wait for your servants to take aggro, and then start capping and it works like a charm. Also, if you aren't in combat, the servants will say, "Spot of tea, governor." So you pretty much have to have it because of that. The last item I'd like to talk about today is Mark of the Chosen, which is an extremely useful trinket you'll be using for a good while, and is one I'd definitely recommend picking up if you're going to be a level 39 twink for PvP, especially if you feel like you'll be in melee combat a lot, as this item procs off melee combat. It increases all stats by 25, and it lasts a minute, which is absolutely insane. All it requires you to do is a short quest found in Maraudon called the Pariah's Instructions, which is a quest that doesn't take too long, but has a few steps. I've listed the steps on the screen, and suggest pausing the video if you want to know how to get the quest done. This item is insanely good, and according to a lot of commenters on Wowhead, it procs very often, so I wouldn't worry about the 2% proc chance, and definitely recommend picking this up, as it'll be useful for many levels. Alright guys, that's all the items I'm going to talk about today. I will be covering more items in the future, so make sure you stay tuned for more. For those who just wanted to be lazy and see what the item does, here's that part of the video. Enjoy. Book of the Dead summons a skeleton that will help you fight for 1 minute on a 15-minute cooldown, and has good stats for a held in offhand. Barov Peasant Caller, a trinket that calls forth 3 servants that will fight for you for 20 seconds. Hook of the Master Angler turns you into a fish that increases your swim speed by 25% on a 5-second cooldown. Linken's Boomerang, a trinket that flings a magical boomerang towards the enemy dealing damage, and has a chance to stun or disarm them on a 3-minute cooldown. Cannonball Runner summons a cannon that will fire cannonballs that deal AoE damage. Nifty Stopwatch, a trinket that increases run speed for 40% for 10 seconds on a 30-minute cooldown. Tidal Charm, a trinket that stuns the target for 3 seconds on a 15-minute cooldown. Skull of Impending Doom, a held in offhand that increases intellect by 7 and increases your run speed by 60% for 10 seconds, but deals 100 to 500 damage and drains 100 to 500 mana from the user every 2 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown. Mark of the Chosen, a trinket that has 2% chance when struck in combat of increasing all stats by 25 for 1 minute. Nifty Stopwatch, this trinket gives you a 40% run speed boost for 10 seconds on a 30-minute cooldown. Alright guys, that's it for now. Hope you found something you didn't know about, and if you have any items that you'd like to see mentioned in the next video, leave a comment in the comment section below. See you guys in Classic WoW, and good luck doing whatever you plan on doing.